super excited today. We have Kent and Amy Bowler with us today. Woo woo! I'm super excited, you guys. Anytime we haven't had them on live very often, and it is. Man, we just really need to get you guys on more because I love working with them. I've known them for several years now, and although I feel like it's been so much longer than that, I feel like it's probably been what,
That's a good
4 years
thing,
or
right? It
something.
has to be.
Yeah, I know. We feel like we've known each other for. They're my adoptive parents,
Yes.
and so even though they're not old enough to be my parents, but they
Mhm.
that's
Almost.
how I feel about them, and they're so amazing. And I'm so excited for you to hear from them today because we're talking about the chaos of parenting. And we're talking about how to calm that chaos because, man, when you're in that vortex, when you're in the cycle, it can be so frustrating and you can't see your way out and you're just losing sleep and everything. And they're going to talk about all that, but they are so amazing at really being able to break down what the triggers are, what causes different cycles in parenting, and how to really be able to keep the calm, keep and heal the relationships with your kids and have close family unit. They know what they're talking about. I'm going to have them introduce themselves because you guys, they've been through, they're in it, they're all around it, and they've been parenting for a long time. And they are great parenting coaches. And I just want you to be able to experience them. And I mean experience them because they're so authentic, real, transparent, and you always feel better when you leave them. That's what I love about them. So I want to be able to share you guys today about how to calm that chaos because it can be crazy. Parenting is messy. Messy. And if you've been reading my emails lately, you know that it is all messy. It's all messy. But there are lessons learned in all of it if we can create that culture, and you guys know that's what I'm about. So, welcome Kenzie and Amy. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you guys have so many things going on. So, even though we wish we could get together more, I know this is a sacred time for us. So, you guys, can you please just share a little bit about just why you love coaching parenting so much? Why, you have so much invested in parenting because I know you do and it comes from your heart.
Thanks, Cami.
It's the best thing ever because this is what matters the most, right? What's more important than your family? What's more important than having that kind of connection
Yeah.
with the people that are closest to us? And it's kind of this oxymoronic thing because we love our families the most, but that's where the struggle is the deepest and the hardest, right? Because we're with each other all the time and we see our flaws and we have our own flaws and then we see our flaws being reflected in our kids. It's like, I messed up,
Yeah.
right? But it's such a joy for us to be able to be in this arena, to be working with families, to be helping parents to heal their hearts, to
Yeah.
make those connections.
Yeah, because we've been there. Like when you say we're real, it's because we have felt those struggles and in a very real way and still are. We still have one teenager at home and our youngest son is not even a teenager yet. So and we have five other children who are adults. So we have been
All
in it
married.
for a long time. Yeah, yeah. And it's cool. It's just the greatest thing to see them start their families and create and start parenting themselves. But yeah, we're still in it and still making mistakes. But the cool thing is that I think because we've been doing it for so long, we've made all kinds of mistakes and found a lot of solutions that really work. And able to when we're able to teach those solutions to other parents, it is just so rewarding to see that success, to see those results, that it doesn't have to stay in chaos, that it can get to a calm place. And when we're in that calm, that is when that magic can happen. That's when, as homeschool families, it's like you have those beautiful days, or you have those times when your child starts to get older and it's like, oh my goodness, they've become who I envisioned they could become. And that's beautiful.
Yeah, I should not only mention that you guys are amazing parents, but also you have homeschooled all your kids, right?
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
I love it. I love it. And so, and how many grandkids do you have now?
10, is that right?
10 grandkids.
Woo
Yes.
woo! That's
Yeah.
so exciting. Oh my
It
gosh,
is.
that's
It is.
exciting. So I love this. And when we're talking about being parents and going through the throngs, and sometimes it happens and we don't even know how we got there, right? So it's really, really hard for us to understand. We just wake up when we're like, wait a minute, oh my gosh, we've been fighting all the time. So what are some of the things that it looks like when we're in that chaos mode? Because sometimes I feel like there are signs and then we don't recognize them until it's really bad.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think we could all probably people watching could be adding their comments too because it can look differently. But a lot of times it's conflict, just a little kind of an argument. Maybe it's some tone from the children, from you, that kind of a thing. You'll see it in conflict, stress inside of us when we start to get that feeling where it's like, oh, maybe even you wake up in the morning and you think about all the things you have to do today, and it's like uh, just that feeling that can be like a precursor to the chaos. Yeah, other things we see.
Yeah, anytime that we're slipping into the parasympathetic nervous system,
I thought parasympathetic is the
the
red one.
sympathetic nervous system,
Yeah, yeah. When
when we're
we're triggered.
when we're triggered,
Yeah.
right? And actually, the way our culture is today, with so much over information overload, so much hyper
Mm,
connections, so much media, so much stuff going on, all the bajillion things that demand our attention right now, we get stuck in that sympathetic nervous system, or it's our primitive brain,
mm,
and so we're in our head, we're literally fighting for survival.
right. And what does that look
That's
like? Like
and that's
what do
yeah.
we feel with it?
So we feel that chemical reaction. We feel triggered. We feel upset. We feel like there's not a lot of ability to reason,
Yeah.
to be logical.
Like a feeling of helplessness as a parent when you don't know what to do. Like there's a problem in front of you, the child is struggling, you're struggling with them, and it's like I don't have an answer. That is not a great feeling. That is a chaotic feeling
Hmm.
of not knowing what to do,
So
knowing there's a problem.
feeling like you're in over your head, feeling like you're drowning,
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often feel like because I'm kind of in this mode right now because
I
because
know.
we leave on we're taking the trailer and we leave on a trip on Saturday, and whenever we're doing that, I have so much to do that it is like I'm in like complete task mode. I'm
Yeah.
like, don't talk to each other, don't look up from your I'm
Right.
like, don't. And so I feel like that sometimes like it can be almost like you said a lack of empathy too, and a lack of just that relationship part, task over relationship thing,
Yeah.
and inflexibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so
and
hard.
almost always like those things you're doing, like you're going on the trip with your family. It's for them. That's why it's so ironic. It's like we're doing this for you, and yet, how are they feeling? Are they feeling like, okay, mom's losing it?
I don't know if I want to go on vacation with you.
I know. I'm
No,
like, hey, don't talk to each other, get moving, let's go, keep going. I'm like, next thing,
pack
and
your
next thing,
bag.
and next thing.
Right, I know. We're all there, yeah. And we got some flooding in our basement a couple weeks ago, and so we got three groups of people displaced from their bedrooms and I mean, like literal physical chaos in the entire possessions of this room are now in like this family room, and all the stuff from that room are in we got 3 bedrooms worth of stuff in the family room. I mean, we've all been there when it's like that kind of physical chaos. And in our home, sometimes it is a physical chaos, but a lot of times it's an emotional or a spiritual or just another kind of a chaos that's not so visible, but it is tangible. It's as if there's all this junk here in the middle of our family and we can't see it, but
Yeah.
we can feel it, and
We can
it's
feel
not
it
fun.
for sure. And I feel like sometimes it's that because we're the thermostats, right? So we set the tone, and whenever somebody's off, it's like, oh man, the whole thing. And that brings me to what are some of like the reasons we kind of talked about some of that task mode stuff, but what are some
Yeah.
other reasons why we might be getting into that chaos mode?
That's great. Great question to go deeper in how we're getting there. Yeah.
Well, we talk about being spread thin, right? So there's all the things that are happening, And when we are attempting to divide our energy and attention across those 5 bajillion things, right? There's not enough jelly to go around on that BB and jelly, right? It's just it's not enough.
Mm.
We don't have enough. And so if there are too many things demanding our attention, and you say, well, what do we do? Well, we'll talk about
Yeah,
some things that we can do, but
yeah, some of
we're
it is
just
just literally the circumstances. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And also, as parents, there is this worry that accompanies anytime we see something go wrong, especially with our children. And so we see our child making a poor choice or contemplating making a poor choice, or you see them making a questionable choice, those kinds of things. And it could be anything from friends to devices to schoolwork getting poor quality, any of those kinds of things. And then it's not just, well, they're not doing their chores, but it's like they're not doing their chores. They're never going to be able to have a clean house. I don't know if they can do a job, because if they can't follow through with the dishes, like how can they like fulfill what they need to accomplish and get money?
Were
And
you
we're
just in
not-
the conversation that I just had with Kenya?
and it's just so natural that we just go there.
Because that's our job as parents, right? We're responsible for raising them up to be great men and women, to become wonderful adults.
Yeah.
And so when we're in the thick of it, and they're falling short, and they're gonna fall short, right? Because it's their first time, or it's their 27th time, but they need 500 times before they get it right? They gotta have some repetition, some practice, just like anything. And so as we're going through those early stages with it, it can feel like they're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can overcome that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I definitely we just went through a whole stress period of Kenyon preparing for his Brown Sash pretest, or his Brown Sash promotion. He already
Nice.
passed the pretest, but it was a little iffy. And going to the promotion, he knew he had to prepare and he had to do more,
Yeah.
and tried to help him a little bit, but then also have to let him make his own mistakes, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It
Yeah.
was very hard. And that thinking of like, oh man, your life is going to look like this if you don't
Right.
figure this out.
Right.
And so that's really, really hard. And we have to, at one point during the promotion on Saturday, one of his instructors was standing next to me while it was happening. And he looked at me and I'm like, I'm just like, he's like, are you breathing? I'm like, no, I'm not breathing right
breathe.
now. Not breathing.
If I
Not
breathe,
breathing.
it's gonna fall apart.
Oh, because I'm thinking about all the rest of the things that could have, should have been done
Right.
beforehand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
the
one of
things
the
that I
other things
already
that
told him.
Yeah, right. That you have taught him, and maybe even he's been able to do at some point, and yet, why not now? And sometimes we see that as teenagers. Sometimes it's a regression. It's like you could do this before, and now all of a sudden you can't follow through with this, or you're feeling lazy, or you're feeling annoyed with me when before I said this and you were fine with it. So why is it all of a sudden now and not okay? And one of the other things that I find is something happens with the family, and all of a sudden I'm like, we got to deal with this now. It's like all of a sudden this is an emergency. Like this child just spoke a rude word to this child. What, we don't do that. It's gotta
Stop
be a
everything.
right. Stop the presses. It's like
If I don't
actually,
take care of this right now, the parenting police are coming in and giving me an F.
or this
Firing me.
child is like doomed to be the meanest person in the world forevermore if I don't say it right now. Instead of, and that can cause chaos. Already there's a bit of chaos because they're having contention, but I come in right at that moment when there's already conflict going on. That is not going to be the right time. And is this actually an emergency? Now, maybe if there's bodily harm happening, and it's like an abusive kind of thing, maybe, but in general, most of the things we're looking at, it's not an emergency situation, like your son's promotion. Important, but not emergency. Like if he
Right.
doesn't get it, it's actually okay.
Right.
And he may learn more if he doesn't get it than if he does. And just
Absolutely.
like breathing through that and being like, okay, that seems like a worst case, but actually the whole reason we've done any of this is so that he can learn and become this incredible person who I see him becoming, at least in some degree. but
Yeah.
trusting that it's going to be okay.
There's a
Yeah,
difference
and a lot of
between,
great lessons came up from that too. I mean, he
yeah.
really did. We had a chat about it on the next day, and he really understood, what where the he went wrong, and
Mm,
immediately also right after he's like, I'm doing some major conditioning, but it was very real, and he understood, and some of the aspect and the consequences that came out of that, and what he needed to do to make things right, and for next time too. So I'm I know it's in there. It's in
yeah,
there.
yeah,
And he's
that's
we've
so
been
good.
it's a constant conversation. So it just has to come in his time too when he gets it. So it can be frustrating to wait for that though. And thinking about that when we're in those times. So how does that relate to we're fourth the thermostat and we're having chaos, we're having stop the presses, we need to have a emergency moment. How does that affect our family?
Yeah, yeah.
When we're in that state, and so when the thermostat is not so
Mm,
great, when we're off personally, that affects the rest of the family, because when that's where our energy is, when that's where our heart is, that's what our vibration is, right? Everybody can tell when when mom's having a special moment, or dad,
right, right. Or teenager. I mean,
or a teenager, right? Don't talk to mom right now. Right? We can all feel that. We know when we're in that state, but when we're in that state, then it literally drives the family apart, and it pushes our
yeah,
children away from us. And if we try and get involved when we're in that state, and like Amy was saying, and try to parent when I'm triggered or my child is triggered, then then we're not healing anything. We're not helping anything. They're
yeah,
not hearing us,
yeah,
and what we're doing is pushing them away and causing them to feel like we don't get them, that they're not heard, and even that we don't love them. That's their takeaway when we try and parent in that state. And so that's devastating.
and it's really the saddest part because more than anything, we know if you're watching this, more than anything, you love your children and you want to provide for them the very best education, the very best life that you can. Otherwise, you would not even be here. You wouldn't be caring. We know because we know Cami and the kind of person that she is, and that you are sacrificing so much, everything for your children, and for them to be like, they don't love me. What? How, how can they feel like I don't, not just they don't love me, but how can they feel like I don't love them when everything I do is for them? And that's kind of the tricky part, is that many times when we respond in certain ways, then we are sending that message that,
It's unintentional, but
yeah,
that's the end result.
yeah,
Yeah, I
You know.
love that. And it's we talk a lot about intentional messages that and or unintentional messages that we're sending as well, and being intentional about the messages that we're sending. And I love we're always on the same page there. And you guys, this is really important because when you have a separation of family relationships, and Kent and Amy talk about this all the time, is you will lower your love of learning. You will lower your family's love of learning, and homeschooling is going to be rough,
yeah,
and it's going to get in this cycle where now everybody's complaining, everybody's frustrated, we're losing sleep. Now we're super
yeah,
more worried that our kids are going to,
Right.
fail at life.
Feel
We're going to fail our
reflected.
kids. We're going to, it
yeah,
just keeps manifesting itself, and it gets worse and worse and worse to where we're fighting every day. We're both, for me, it was both crying every day. And that situation is, kids can't learn in that space, right?
no.
Yeah.
They can go through the motions. They might,
Yes.
it's like, okay, you have to this, okay, like I'm sitting here. I no. They can be obedient, they can follow what you're saying, but is it begrudging? And are they putting up a wall in their heart and their mind and be like, I'm so mad,
It's a wall around their heart against you and learning,
yeah,
right? It's a double whammy.
yeah,
Yeah,
So
which
you're
ultimately
spot on.
hurts them long term, because
yeah.
Yeah.
that's not how you create lifelong learners, right? We all we all did that in school. So,
Right, right. And it's so much better to invest in that relationship. And if things start breaking down, like, you got to take a pause in whatever is happening. And you got to address that, even if there's still 2 or 3 more lessons to go in the day. You just gotta think like those lessons are not getting through. And so it's going to be better if by the end of the week we are 3 lessons down, because the 10 lessons we did get were powerful, and they felt it,
Absolutely.
and they felt that love, instead of like, well, we poured it all in, but they're like,
Yeah, pulling back on the reins is never a good way to retain information.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
for sure. And I feel like there's a mindset shift that needs to happen when we're in this place. So, and you guys are the best at explaining these shifts. So, what kind of mindset shift? We're in total chaos, we're frustrated, we're worried, we're stressed, we're losing sleep. What do we need to think to ourselves?
That I, I love thinking about the fact that God trusted me with these children. I'm not sure if all of you are believers or have that kind of background, but I think that there's a power in the universe that directs, and when I can hold on to that faith that there's a plan in play, and that those children are in my home for a reason, and that I am trusted in that role, it helps me to slow down, to pause, to be still, and to hold on to that belief that I can do this, and to just stop, be still, pause.
Yeah, yeah, that is really this mindset that what is our role, not necessarily to be the we know we don't want to be the dictators, but even the complete leader, directing, even not even the director as they are getting older, but more of a facilitator, and we're alongside them, helping them on their journey. But the one of the things that
Walking the path with them.
walking with them, and that's part of the love of learning, is that we're on our love of learning journey too. And when you're in that kind of a state, we can be vulnerable as parents with them, like, like, I, either I don't know this information, or I don't know what to do in this situation. We got to take a step back. Let's try to find a solution together. Let's work on this. But at the middle of it, when it's just that chaos, it is just a pause. Just a pause, a deep breath, kind of pondering this idea that they are most likely drowning in whatever's happening. If they're making poor choices and they're not doing something well that's leading to this chaos, it's because they somehow can't. And they are drowning. They are in over their head. Now maybe we are too, but we're the parents, and so we get to be the ones to say, I've got to take a pause for a minute, and maybe that means we go to the bathroom. And as long as your child isn't, too little, they're not going to go with you. You can just have a long bathroom time. Leave your phone outside the bathroom so they know you're just like actually going to, but you're just pausing. You're just taking a break where you can get away from the chaos for a minute, and just that mindset shift that it's going to be okay. This is not the end. It doesn't matter how bad it is. This is not the end. There's always time to come back, and there's always a chance to repair things. And it's going to be okay. And that's when we get to come in and be the people who can make that calm, make that calm happen, but we bring the calm ourselves, and then inspire our family to come to that calm as well.
Nature can really help us in that calming process too. Just take the shoes off. I'm going to step outside in the backyard for a minute in the grass,
Yeah.
and smell the roses, right? That's a fun little saying, stop and smell the roses, but it's legit, right?
Yeah.
Nature is super healing. Gabby
Yeah.
and I just got to spend 3 days out in nature in this beautiful spot, and it was incredible, right? The chance to slow down and to be nurtured by nature. To hear the birds. I was talking to Amy for a minute on the phone. She's like, I can hear all the birds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, but that just even to do that for 5 minutes can be calming to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Step
And maybe
up,
bring them with you.
bring them
Like,
with you. Yeah. Let's go
let's
out back for a minute.
all,
Let's,
No
let's
talking.
right. No. Yeah.
And that's true because we can sometimes our kids need that too, right? So that when they're, I know when my son is in a place where he's just like, I have to be right and I'm gonna be right for the like till my
I'll
dying
never do
breath,
that.
that kind of thing. Sometimes just yeah, we don't know what that means, but like having him step away, and usually when he's there he has alone time for like 10-15 minutes. He's in a totally different place.
Right?
I'm like,
Just the
you need a
pause.
minute.
Yep.
Yeah.
You need a
Yeah, we
minute
do the
right
same
now.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. And I remember when one of our teenagers was, she was probably 14 or 15, and when she was getting triggered, and I wasn't triggered, but she was, and I was like, we gotta talk about this. We gotta work on this. And she was just going down, down, down. Anything I was saying wasn't getting through because she wasn't ready to receive any of that. And so
Mm-hmm.
that is one thing we learned. Like sometimes they just need space. Sometimes they need us to be to be with them and kind of breathe through it. We think of like a toddler throwing a fit, like,
Yes.
can I give you a hug? Yes, you can. But sometimes the toddler's like, kick, 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 no, no, no. Teenagers, same thing. It's like, can I can I sit here with you? No, I need to be alone. And that's okay. Let them go.
Do you want to
Yeah.
go jump on the trampoline? Do you want to go read a book? Do you want to go sit in your room for a minute? Whatever, give them
Yeah.
some options
Yeah.
to find that space.
Our daughter will just, it's kind of a signal to us. She'll say, I'm going for a walk by myself. And she's just really clear because because I might be like, oh, I'll come with you. And she's like, I'm going for a walk by myself. That's signal. I need time alone. And she's not even necessarily triggered, but
Just for her to pause and
yeah,
reset.
yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So these are great options for us to do after we reset. What now?
yeah. Great, great question. And one of the things that's important to know is just asking yourself that question, like, am I actually calm? And then it depends on if the child is calm as well, because you might be calm but they're not calm. And so in that case, it's kind of what we were talking about. We got to wait until
Still wait.
both of us are calm. So as long as when both of us are calm, then we can work on taking some steps to connect with them, because that can't happen when either person is triggered. We never want to parent when we're upset. Never parent when you're triggered. Just
It's a
rule of thumb, don't speak.
new bumper sticker.
Yeah. Do not.
Don't parent when triggered.
Yes, just don't. It doesn't there it unless the child is running out in the street figuratively or actually, and you have to grab them. Don't parent when you're upset. So, but now you're calm and they're calm miraculously. And so now there's a chance to connect, and we call it gentle questions. And so that's just one way that you can connect with them. And sometimes it's getting
Because
close to them.
because we David Brooks is an awesome columnist, does a lot of writing, has written several books. But he talks about one of the biggest problems that we have in our culture today is that people don't feel heard. And it's what they desire more than anything else in the world. And it's especially true for our young ones, right? And our children want to feel heard from us. And so when we can ask questions where there's no implied judgment, in other words, did you take the trash out?
Or
Have you done your homework?
what were you thinking?
What were you thinking?
None of those questions. No, no, no. Don't do those.
Right, so not that kind of a question, but a question where you want to understand them, what's bugging them, where their heart's at, right? Just super gentle and just kind of probing to see how they're doing, if they're still triggered,
Yeah,
if they're still
yeah.
reeling from whatever happened, if they're still in over their heads. But as they start to come out of that, we can ask those kinds of gentle questions where they respond, and we still don't pass judgment, and we don't jump into parenting right off the bat or telling them what they should or shouldn't do, but we're just having a conversation so that they feel heard.
Yeah.
And then as they feel heard, their heart opens up to us and we're connected and we can move forward.
Right. Right. Things like, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to share what happened? Just really honestly wanting to know and wanting to hear from them about what's going on, because almost always when there's conflict, or any kind of issue going on, there's other things, there's underlying stuff. One sibling mad at another sibling. Are they really mad at that sibling, or are they upset about something else that happened? Or are they really mad about the food that the sibling took, or are they upset at the sibling for 3 times ago, whatever happened? But just really opening that communication with those open questions. And that means we're willing to hear them say, I don't want to talk right now.
And that's okay.
And we got to be like, that's okay. No, I just want you to know I'm here. I'm here when you're ready.
I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the feeling behind those questions is curiosity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sole purpose. Just curiosity, connection,
Understanding.
understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Maxwell has a principle of leadership called seek to understand before being understood. So that's something we talk about a lot in our house is having that, not having a knee jerk reaction, and that includes us too.
Yeah.
But also having that, just really what's going on. And sometimes I remember Kenny would come, he's fighting me on something or arguing with me on something, and I'm like, oh, like this doesn't match up. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
it didn't feel right. And so, after, I remember one conversation we had after a while, I'm like, who are you mad at?
Yeah.
Who are you mad at right now?
Yeah.
And he took a
Yes.
minute to think about it. And he was like,
What's going
well,
on? What are you upset about?
he's like, actually, and it's pretty amazing 'cause I would have never done this as a teenager, but he was like, actually, I think I'm getting mad at you because I'm mad at myself for making that mistake again. And I'm just taking it out on you. I'm sorry. And I was like,
Wow.
well, first of all, wow. Lol. Like,
Wait,
that's
owning
amazing
that.
self-reflectiveness that I know I
Good
didn't
job,
have,
Mom.
or I wouldn't have admitted it when I was a teenager. And that's so amazing. And I was like, okay, well, now we're at a place. It's fine,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's
That's good.
beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know that you guys, this is such, you guys, if you're doing this is a daily action, right? So every day we can be triggered by different things, and then just knowing where that comes from. I think I originally, I was a different teacher when I first started than when I finished, my 7 years of teaching. And it really reflected a lot of how I parent now in terms of my personal growth, and also reflecting on how he reacts, because I can't parent I'm a more naturally let's just get over it. Let's do, whatever. And
Push through. Yeah.
and he does not respond well to that. And so I have to bring it way down, and I have to come at it from a totally different level, which is probably just what you guys teach all the time, the right level. But that's just I have to take into account what he responds to.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's so good. And that's such a generational thing.
Yeah.
It's very normal for us to just be like, well, the practical thing is this, just pick it up, move it over here, problem solved. Many times. And I do that same thing. I'm just like, I might even just like grab the
That's
thing and
easy.
start doing it and
Here's-
just give the solution. But they don't even want the solution, especially if they're still being triggered. They're just like, no solution you give, it doesn't matter how good it is. Or they get stuck in their mind like it's got to be this. And if you can't provide this, whatever this is, no other solution is even remotely even worth thinking about. And so then we got to change and just change that tactic and not go to bringing on solutions until they're asking us. And that's what we're going for, is so much connection that they come to us saying, what do you think about this? I'm kind of facing this dilemma and I'm not really sure. I'm just, I'm kind of stressed. I don't know. Should I go with these friends tonight or should I stay home? Should I go to this college or go over here and do this? Just anything from a teeny problem to a big problem. We want them to come to us, and they come to us, and now is our chance. But even then, we're late. We're not like, oh, buddy.
Yeah, baby. Let's
Yeah,
rock and
here we
roll.
go.
Ask me the question,
All
I'm
the
gonna get it all.
shoulds.
We got 10 spreadsheets for you about the colleges and the other entrepreneurial choices. So now there'll be a 2-hour lecture on your many options. No, we're gonna be
What have
soft.
you thought about? What are you looking
Yeah,
at? What do you
bring
like?
it,
What do you not like?
bring it to them. What are you excited about with this option? What are you worried about over here? We're guiding them to come to the solution,
That's
even when
perfect.
they ask us.
Yes, absolutely. That's perfect. I was just going to ask you what it looks like when we actually have it right. And that's exactly true. I know there's tons of times Kane's come to me and like, I don't really know this kid said this. Like I thought that was inappropriate, but is it, and we have a conversation about that. Or, I always argue with daddy about this one thing. Like, how can I bring it up in a way that
Mm,
that we don't get in an argument? I'm like, who says that? Like, I don't even know.
so
It's
great.
crazy taking ownership of his part of the conversation and then going asking, seeking mentorship in that area. It's pretty very
Hmm.
unlike when I grew up, but
Right.
Yeah.
but it's so amazing. So you guys, that makes love of learning thrive. So when you can have relationships like that and you can have fun like that, and that's where you can have fun. So when we're talking about creating culture, parenting is so essential. And a lot of what I do is actually parenting coaching too,
Hmm.
because we're trying to create that culture and what happens when the kids respond this way or something like that. And you guys,
Yeah.
I learned from Kent and Amy all the time. I'm so excited that we had this conversation today. I feel like it's so meaningful. We haven't had this in a long time on the podcast. So I want to make sure that everybody gets in touch with you guys and gets information. I know that you just in the show notes and everywhere you're seeing or listening to this, you can get a replay of their most recent, or actually not most recent, but the previous one of their events that they did. And can you just share with us a little bit about what that one is about?
Well, we talked about being able to hold boundaries without conflict. So it goes a lot along with what we're talking about, right? Because sometimes we feel like if I'm holding a boundary, and this is right, this is where this is the
Mm,
line in the sand. We feel like if we're going to enforce that boundary, that the only way to do that is with conflict. And what we teach in that workshop is what you can do to have those boundaries in place and still maintain that connection that we're talking about, right? So that there's no conflict over those boundaries. And that's super cool, right? To be able to have your children learning in your home, connected to you, and abiding by principles that you deem are appropriate for your home.
yeah. And helping them to get to this place where they can see the value and what are the principles they want to live their lives by, because that's ultimately what it's about, them taking this ownership of their own life and being excited about it.
Absolutely. Ownership is so important. And I love this. You guys do such an amazing job. So I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to watch that. And then also, you guys have a podcast. Super amazing. Please be sure to, there's links, like I said, in all the show notes and everywhere you see or watch or listen to this. I want to make sure that you guys are hooked up with Kent and Amy. So where else can they find you? I know you're planning on doing another event in a live event in July. So
Yep.
in order to get in touch with you to get information on that, what do they do?
So the best thing to do is join our community. We have a community on a platform called Circle, and in the link that you have there in the show notes for that last workshop that we did, that prior workshop that we did, there's a link there that will take you. You just put in your name and your email, and then you're part of the community. So it's like Facebook but better because you're not distracted by all the other things, right? It's just us. It's just the families who are involved who are looking for that support where we hold each other up, we talk, we converse, we have lots of good content in there. Our podcast is in there as well, and it's a way for us to connect. And then we also will announce all the events that we're doing and opportunities to engage and learn and
Yeah,
grow.
so if you just go to that link, that's where you'll find the video and you'll find another link to join the community. So that's the
Yeah,
great way. And then you'll get on our email list and see, we'll tell you about other events and things like that. So
yeah,
yeah,
be
we'd
part of
love
our
to,
world.
yeah, we'd love to connect and share with you the things that we have learned and the mistakes that we have figured out that we don't want to make again and that we want to help other parents avoid.
Right.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today, you guys. I want to make sure everybody checks that out and gets in touch with you. Don't you feel better? I mean, after just being with them for a little bit, I know I do every time. So, you guys make sure to join us and check out that link in the replay so that you can watch the replay and get in their circle community. All right, guys, we'll talk to you again next week. Bye bye.